On the screen, that is part of my CV in C21FG. I am a top 10 Star Nation member, a two-time top 1, once top 3, two-time top 6, once top 9, top 18. I am a C21FG top 50 member, a silver executive, a millionaire circle member, monthly millionaire, 2 Comma Club member, millionaire mentor, and I have a small dedicated group which I also lead under the Super Success Team. So I will be sharing with us my story or my journey.
We are not seeing your slide, Prof.
You can't see
Prof,
my
I'm not
slide.
seeing your slide. Yes.
Okay, sorry. Aha. Okay, is my slide showing now? Okay, I think my slide should be showing right now. Sorry, I thought I had pressed share.
Yes, your slide is showing now, and you are top 50 in Nigeria, not just C21FG.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
I wasn't too sure. Okay, so this is my CV. And I will show you how I got there through the mentorship of our leaders here in C21FG, through the mentorship of Dr. Elijah Mba, Dr. Tony Akabuno, Ambassador Fego Adaja, several Crosslines, and other team members. First of all, for those of you who are relatively new, you might be wondering, who am I? What am I? Where did I come from? What is my background? And you want to look at my milestones and also success stories that I have. And also you want to know where I am headed to and where I plan to be. Well, I'm just a simple person. I'm a family man, a teacher, lecturer, professor, clinical administrator. I am the Director of Student Affairs of the College of Medicine. I am also the Dean of the Faculty of Clinical Sciences. I am also the head of the Endocrine and Diabetes Unit. I am a physician, a pastor, a preacher, a counselor. But the one I love so much is a network marketing professional, and that's why I've put it in bold. I also do some business, and I'm a financial consultant by virtue of what I have learned here. What is my background? I'm the first son of 7 children of my father, and I was encouraged to read medicine by my father because several of my uncles were also doctors. So I'm not the first, I'm not the second, I'm not the third doctor. Neither am I the first or the second or the third professor. There were so many that were just like me. So I had many big shoes in front of me. As I graduated, my father influencing and pushing me till I did medicine because that was not what I wanted to do. My father had plans because he felt that if the firstborn can make it, he can support in training all the others. So, as they say, he told me, go to school, get good grades, and you will get a good job, and you are made for life. In my first year of being a doctor in 1987, I was shocked because I found out that working for a whole 12 months as a doctor doing my internship, at that time, things were still good in the country. All that I could buy was a 14-inch color TV and a double cassette player. That was all. So I knew that I was on a very, very long journey, a very, very long journey. That this way, I'm not going to go too far. I'm not going to break into the millions. So I continued to struggle after housemanship and youth service. Even finishing my postgraduate fellowship training barely took me out of poverty because when I saw that there was not much coming in and I consulted my dad and others, they said, well, in the olden days, just being a doctor was sufficient. Today, you have to be a consultant. So I enrolled in residency, became a consultant in the year 1996. But did that help? No, it didn't help. Because by 2019, after 3 decades from graduation, 3 decades from graduation from university, I realized the futility of the educational system. Despite being promoted professor of medicine, to my shock, I realized that at the pinnacle of my career, I was still earning just 6 figures monthly. I was a level 34 officer because I had reached the peak of medical practice as a consultant physician. I was also a professor of medicine in the university, so I had employment with the government as a lecturer under Ministry of Education, employment as a consultant under Ministry of Health, and as that is customary to people who are in the teaching line in medicine, I had these dual appointments, equivalent of level 17 on both sides. That is why I tell people that as a level 34 officer, I was still earning less than 1 million. This was 3 decades after suffering. So 28 months ago, I got a message from my uncle, who was also a teacher. And as I told you, there are so many professors in my family. He was also an endocrinologist. He was also a professor of medicine. His name is Professor Soji Fasanmade. And he sent me a message. Thereafter, Professor Charles Bekibele called me. I attended the BOM in Ikeja, but I was suspicious. I was thinking that there must have been some conspiracy. These two people don't usually call me in this manner. So I deliberately went late. I got to the BOM almost 2 hours after. And as I got there, I was barred from entering. The person who stopped me from entering was a white bearded man. That man turned out to be the strategic motivator, Dr. Tony Akabuno. He says, "What's your name?" I said, "My name is Professor Fasanmade." He looked at me and said, "Look at your time." I looked at my time and I looked at him disdainfully. I said, "Well, it's about 3:45. He said, "When were you told to come?" I said, 2 p.m. He said, "So you can't go in." As I was bouncing and saying, "Well, I'm going to tell my uncle and my friend that after all, I came there, but they didn't allow me to enter," he summoned me and he said to one lady, a tall lady, a pretty lady, her name was Fego. He says, "Fego, can you go and do a one-on-one on him?" I looked, I said, "Okay, it's a pretty face. Let me follow her." And she took me to another place nearby, did a quick one-on-one on me, and after some skepticism, I joined the C21FG. From being a skeptic, from being a poser, I transformed very quickly to become an amateur. Within a short period, I was a Power 500 member. And within a few more months, I was already in the monthly millionaire group. Shortly after, I was also in the 2 Comma clubs. I said, "Wow, this thing really is working. This is working. You mean I can earn as much as 1 million in something that I have learned for less than 6 months, in a profession that I've read less than 4 books?" I was pleasantly surprised. Since then, and after reading that he who holds a marker makes the money, I became a presenter. As early as my 3rd month in the business, I started presenting. I presented in Lagos. Shortly after, I went to Abeokuta, presented. I went to Shagamu, presented. I went to Calabar, presented. I went to Uyo, presented. Port Harcourt, Abuja, Oshogbo, Ado, every spare time from the office. Most weekends, I was on the road. And for that reason, I had team members scattered all over the Southwest and even now into the North Central. I have attended so many events. And by God's grace, I have been recognized in more than 25 of the 28 months that I have been in this business. I like showing this graph so that people can see the power of the connected economy over the power of the industrial economy. I had worked in government practice for 37 years as a doctor. At my peak, I was earning about 1.2 million naira. I have also worked as a partner in a private practice that has been running for almost a quarter of a century. I earn, interestingly, a similar amount of money. But in the MLM practice, I have only been practicing for a short period of time. Right now, I've been practicing for just 28 months. And my monthly income is around 2.4 million. Training costs. How much did it cost to get me to the level I am? Less than 1 million naira. What was the startup? I started with just an entry verse. At that time, it was called Access Pack. Although I upgraded, I did so quite late, to my regrets, which I regret up to this time. Because anybody that looks at my DTC now, it looks like an amoeba, with people all over, blocking right, left, and center. So that scar has been upon me, but I have overcome it through the blue ocean, because I have now opened up so many other accounts that I use that to compensate from the disadvantage of not upgrading early. And you can see the comparison in the effort and the time put in. I started to make invitation calls early. Professor Bekibele, but more especially Ambassador Fego taught me, and I started doing that. I started attending all events thanks to the persistence of Professor Charles Bekibele. I didn't upgrade to maximum in time, as I said. I attended every retreat. There has been every retreat, every program of SST, Star Nation, and C21FG for the past 2 years and 3 months. I've attended all of them. I've started growing a team, and my team has started to get bigger and bigger. I had so many awards. Power 500, monthly millionaire. I became Kingsman. I attained silver executive status. Power 500 very early. I was almost always a star connector. I think in these 28 months, I've been a star connector in about 20 or 22 of these 28 months. So I'm always in the field and I enjoy it. I've moved very, very fast. Even as early as less than a year in the business, I was recognized as top one last year, July. I have been monthly millionaire several times last year and this year. I am currently a steady 7-figure earner, and months in which I earn 2.5 million, those months are bad months. I started presenting very early, as I told you. This is me with my signature native and my Amoson cap. And that is the HDV where I first saw the business. I was taking IPO at this time. I attended events after events. I was not afraid to buy tickets. At one event, I bought 40 tickets at 200,000 naira. Very few people did come from these tickets, but one of these tickets gave birth to my biggest team, and that is the one at Abeokuta. You can see some of my team members. Unfortunately, the two in the middle have quit. The two on the extreme side are myself and Professor Charles Bekibele. We are still in the game. I became a Kingsman very, very fast. As I said, I grew continuously. I became a silver executive. I attained most of the top 10 positions. I became a Kingsman. For those of you who are new, a Kingsman is somebody that has 5 active partners. I am a regular presenter in Super Success Team, and there is no week that passes that I do not present. I present in the air, I present in the hotels, I present outside the country, I present inside the country. I have team members that I presented to when I was as far away as Pakistan. I have other team members that joined my business when I was as far away as Brazil, because anywhere I go, I present. I am like MTN. Anywhere I go with my HDMI cable, I go with my clicker, I go with my speaker, and I present. So what have I benefited while being in the Diamond Project? You'll be surprised that even professors can still learn. I learned how to make better presentations. If somebody told me that I will enter the Diamond Project, I will enter C21FG and be learning how to make better presentations, I would say is impossible. Those are learned in the ivory tower. But I've learned how to make better presentations. I have learned how to preach better. I have learned how to make extra money. I've learned how to do business better. And I've learned how at any time I can easily sack my boss. What are the other benefits of being in the Diamond Project? Oh, it's so wonderful because I've improved in health. I've improved in all parameters. I used to have recurrent cold, catarrh, peptic ulcer, asthma. Now those are things of the past. If you don't have your Ultra H2 bottle, go and get it. And if you are not doing monthly maintenance and taking your products, you better go and do so. Now, I am very bold. I have the ability to close deals better. My leadership skills have been impacted positively. Financial literacy has gone up. And through the teachings of great leaders, such as Dr. Akabono, such as Architect Mo, Dr. Eli Jamba, I have better financial intelligence and emotional intelligence. I always go to events with team members. I have gotten several awards, as I told you, and every promo that is on, I make sure that I am a winner of something in those promos. I promote events because I learned that that is one of the highest paying skills. Sometimes I sponsor, I support members, even those that don't have at that time. I've done several office launches, home launches, some successful, some not successful. But in any one, I go from event to event. There are some events in which I've rented a hall and one person turned up. In one event, I've rented halls and nobody turned up. But that doesn't stop me. I make sure that in my team, I outspend everyone. I have not missed a single destination event. I've pioneered in several places, as I told you earlier. So now, for you to know how to get to the top 50, we'll quickly go through this ABC of multi-level marketing. The first one is that we need to have action. We need to have action. We need to have belief, consistency, determination, energy. We should be fearless. We should learn to follow up. We should be generous. We should be hospitable, ingenious, just, knowledgeable, loyal, and we should follow mentorship. I may not be able to cover all of these because people have covered many of them even in times past. But even in the story that I shared with you in the first part of this presentation, it has contained a little bit of all of these things.